And then our next class is class Cephalopoda. These are your squid, your octopus, your nautilus, and your cuttlefish. These guys have a very well-developed head with beak-like jaws. They have tentacles and suckers for latching onto prey. Many of them will use jet propulsion to get away or to swim, and the way they do that is they take up a whole bunch of water into their mantle and then they force it all out through the siphon, and whichever direction they want to go, they point the siphon in the opposite direction, so it allows them to steer. They are agile carnivores. They do actively hunt their prey. Many of these guys contain chromatophores, which are pigments in their skin that they can control that allow them to camouflage very well. Most of them do not have a shell. Your octopus completely lacks a shell. It has evolved to lose it. Your squid has an internal shell called a pin. It's a very small, narrow shell that sort of serves like a backbone. And your nautilus still has a full shell. They have a very well-developed nervous system and well-developed eyes, although their eyes still see in black and white. So here's a look at their tentacles with suckers that they use to latch onto their prey. These are firefly squid that bioluminescent. Here's an octopus. More octopus. Another octopus. On this octopus, you can see the tentacles very nicely. Here is an octopus that Professor Dempsey and his class found in Hawaii. More octopus. And here are your squid and your nautilus examples. On the nautilus here on the bottom, you can see the siphon. The siphon and the squid is located here at the end of the mantle. This is the mantle, the long portion of the squid, so it'll take a bunch of water up into its mantle and force it all out this siphon. And you can see the siphon here on the clear squid as well. And then here are those chromatophores. And I highly recommend you go out and you watch the video on chromatophores with the octopus. It's very interesting. Here is a octopus that is camouflaged. Not only can octopus control the pigmentation of their skin thanks to the chromatophores, but they can also control the texture. And you see how this guy's skin is raised up here and bumpy looking? So they have these muscles underneath their skin that allow them to create a texture that mimics the background. Here's another camouflaged octopus. Here's his eye, and this here would be the octopus. And again, you can see the texture he has given his skin to camouflage in. That brings us to our last class in phylum Mollusca, class Scaphopodia. These guys have a shovel foot that allows them to dig a burrow down into the sand. Their shell is open at both ends. They pretty much burrow into the sand and are filter feeders, and they just stick their heads up to capture food particles in the water. So pretty sessile organisms. They spend most of their time hiding buried in the sand. They're called tusk shells because their shell resembles the tusk of an elephant, although it is much, much smaller in size. So here's the actual tusk shell organism itself, and you'll notice they have that specialized shovel foot for digging the burrows that they bury their shells in, so that just the very top of the shell is even with the surface. If you ask me, these guys are pretty cute to look at, but they're pretty shy. They stay most of the time buried in the sand. Here's another look at them. They are used in jewelry. You can see the tusk shells here on this Native American belt, and they're also on this Native American cloak here. You can find tusk shell jewelry for sale online. Here's a bracelet and a necklace and even earrings. And here's just a look at some of the variations in the tusk shells.